at practice. Everybody getting into the act.
Durant fires for three.
Got it! Got it! Here's Thompson for three.
Big shot by Steph Curry.
The LA Clippers formally moved past the Lob City years midseason with the trade of Blake Griffin. They'll move forward now with a pair of first-rounders, Kentucky's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jerome Robinson, a 20-point scorer at Boston College. But Sekou, DeAndre Jordan's decision to opt in or out will have a lot to do with how their summer goes.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that they want to completely rid themselves of the Lob City era. I know that was stated plainly when Doc Rivers came on board, that this is no longer Lob City, we're doing something different. Trying to establish themselves as a playoff powerhouse. They could get only so far shedding that label. Now you don't even have the pieces for Lob City.
Right.
DeAndre's the only one left, and he might not be there. To me, this is about a really hard decision for the Clippers. Do you want to start over completely? And do you want to hand the ball to, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and start fresh with a young crop and completely change your DNA and who you are? Or do you want to hold on just a little bit to what was there before and see if you can rebuild it, if you can patch it together and rebuild it? I don't know if you can patch this thing back together if you're the Clippers.
Well, it's interesting because they kind of said after the Griffin trade that they didn't want to hit rock bottom. They wanted to continue to be competitive.
Yeah, but it's going to be tough to be competitive. I know Sekou's talking about Doc Rivers didn't want this team to be known as Lob City. Well, they look like they're in for a rebuilding process. They're going to be known as Sob City for a while. Because it's going to take a while for them to put these pieces together and get things in place. I like Shai Gilgeous, but I think it's going to take him some time. He's not, if you haven't seen him play, he's not a dynamite athlete. He's one of those guys that's smooth and kind of glides around the court and gets to his areas. Doesn't really have a lot of NBA comps right now. I was going through my list of who he reminds me of, and I really couldn't find any guys in the league that really play like him right now. So he's a unique type of point guard, has the size. Of course, he's going to have to develop. Doesn't really have that outside jumper. But I think they're building for the future. Of course, they also are in on the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes. They've been trying to get in on it, but now that the draft has passed, I'm not sure if they'll be able to do that either. So it's going to be tough where this team goes. I think rebuilding is inevitable, and they got a good young piece in Shai Gilgeous. I'm not sure if he's going to be the franchise guy, but I think he's a piece of the puzzle of them moving forward.
I like Shai. I think Robinson is a terrific scorer.
I forgot about Jerome Robinson, Coach. Yeah. 21 points per game in ACC.
I like him. He can really score. Here's a question for me to throw out. Does it matter what the Lakers are doing as far as the Clippers are concerned?
Always.
Is there a pressure there that they go in a certain direction right now?
Always.
Yeah, I think to some degree, but I think I'm going to be on the complete opposite side of this from Brendan, and maybe to a certain degree, Sekou. I look at this as the best coaching job Doc Rivers maybe has ever done to get what he got out of that group. They missed more games out of their top 8 rotation pieces than any team in the league by a lot. They basically lapped the field. So they have a lot of reason to believe that when they're healthy, those pieces they have coming back, added to what got them to the record they had, which was staggering, is actually going to be pretty good. And I think they feel like they can be highly competitive. They're really playing for free agency next year.
Right.
And they've done it very, very well. They are playing a very mindful long game in much the same way that Brooklyn is. They're doing it with without high-value draft picks, but they're doing it in a very thoughtful way. And I really like what they did going back to the Blake Griffin trade. It sets in motion the next thing. And I think they're very well teed up moving forward with this group. And I think Shai added to the group that they have of Teodosic and Patrick Beverley, were he able to come back healthy, is really nice ball handling, length, defense, and it gives you a chance. Shai's a serpentine, sort of crafty, maybe Patrick McCaw, Sean Livingston-like. He's had that body his whole life. He knows how to use it. I think it's a really underrated piece that they got.
So you think this is a playoff team next year?
I think it is. I really do. They would have been a playoff team this year if not for 1 or 2 games coming down the stretch. And they were doing it with absolutely nobody that they were counting on coming into the year. Jerome Robinson isn't just a scorer. He's an uber-efficient scorer. He led the ACC in scoring and wasn't even leading their team in field goal attempts until the 14th ACC game.
Right.
So it's a rare piece.
I think Coach asked a very important question, though. How much of the pressure is on the Clippers now? Because it's not like you're fighting for respect in a town the Lakers have owned for the last few years. You're fighting for respect now in a city where you've been the playoff team. You've been the marquee team, whether the locals want to admit it or not. And now the Lakers are trying to ramp back up and beat you to that spot again. I think it's a great point that Coach brings up.
To me, it's always a dynamic in Los Angeles. They've been the little brother for so long in that market, regardless of what's happened recently.